What if I told you the war you think you're fighting out there has never been out there at all? What if the real battlefield is right here, in the quiet choices you repeat when nobody is watching, in the rituals you perform when the world is asleep, in the tiny promises you keep or break with yourself every single day? What if the gap between the life you have and the life you are capable of isn't a mystery of luck or talent, but the math of your habits? And what if, lean in with me, what if the difference between average and unstoppable is decided before sunrise? Decided in the stories you whisper to your own soul. Decided in the simple acts that seem too small to matter. Until they're the only things that matter, breathe. Feel your heart beating. That pulse is not just life, it's a drum calling you to a higher standard. Today, I'm not handing you motivation that fades in an hour. I'm giving you a blueprint, a daily operating system, because you don't rise to the level of your goals. You fall to the level of your habits. Goals are the spark, habits are the engine, discipline is the driver, and consistency is the road you take. One step, 1 mile, 1 day at a time, until the skyline you once dreamed about is the city you now live in. Let me take you back to a night that changed everything. The apartment was quiet, except for the buzz of a cheap ceiling light and the hum of a refrigerator that sometimes worked and sometimes didn't. I was staring at a blank page, drowning in some days. Someday I'll be in shape. Someday I'll start reading. Someday I'll wake up early and build the life I want. I had big goals and bigger excuses. I kept telling myself I needed a breakthrough. The truth, I needed a habit. Neuroscience has a word for what we're about to build: neuroplasticity, the brain's ability to rewire itself through repeated patterns. Every repetition is a vote. Every small action is a synapse strengthened, a pathway paved, a shortcut carved through the dense forest of your mind. Habits are how the brain automates greatness or mediocrity. And that night, I realized I had designed my autopilot for average. I changed the next morning. Not the whole life, not the entire story, just the morning. I set one tiny rule: get up before the sun and do one thing that moves the needle. That's it. The first dawn felt like an earthquake in slow motion. The city was quiet. The air was cool and honest. And in that silence, I heard something I'd never heard at noon, my own voice, clear, unafraid, purposeful. The world is loud when you wake late. Your life becomes a reaction. But when you rise early, you own the day before anyone else can rent it. The silence is not empty. The silence is where greatness is born. So we begin here, with the sacred ritual of rising with purpose, not because waking up early is trendy, but because of what it unlocks inside you. Time before the world takes it, focus before the noise steals it, clarity before the day blurs it. Picture it, the sky still inked with night, the first streak of blue at the horizon, the kettle whispering, the floor cool under your feet, a journal open, your breath slow. In that space, your future self meets your present self and says, I've been waiting for you. You do not sprint, you align. You do not chase the day, you summon it. And every morning you do this, you deliver a message to your subconscious. I am the kind of person who shows up. Over time, that message becomes identity. Identity becomes destiny. Then, before the emails, before the texts, before the world's priorities storm your gates, move your body, not to crush records, not to impress an algorithm. Move as an act of respect for the machine that carries your dream. When you master your body, you begin to master your life. A set of push-ups in a hallway apartment. A run beneath bruised purple clouds. A slow stretch that turns your spine into a river. This is not punishment. This is preparation. Your physiology shapes your psychology. Blood flow turns the lights on in your brain. Posture becomes a broadcast. Shoulders back, chin steady, eyes alive. That tells your nervous system, we are safe, we are capable, we are ready. You don't need 2 hours in a fancy gym. You need 10 minutes consistently until 10 minutes becomes 20 and 20 becomes a lifestyle and a lifestyle becomes a legacy. Consistency over intensity, frequency over frenzy. You are not trying to win a day, you are building a decade. Now feed your mind. Champions aren't just strong, they are students. Every page you read is a step closer to wisdom others will never touch. Read 5 pages. Listen to 10 minutes of a brilliant thinker on your commute. Take one note you can use today. Leaders read not to finish books, but to start better conversations with reality. Your mind is a garden. News cycles and idle gossip are weeds. Books, lectures, deep conversations, these are seeds. Plant enough of them, water them every morning, and your inner world becomes a cathedral of ideas. And when adversity arrives, and it will, you will have architecture inside you that does not collapse. Pause here. Place your hand on your chest. Close your eyes. Think of just one thing you are grateful for. The way a child laughs with their whole body, the friend who checked in when you went silent, the teacher who believed in you, the meal you didn't have to worry about, the breath you just took. Gratitude isn't naive. It's a superpower. It does not deny the storm. It anchors you during it. A grateful heart can never be broken because it already owns everything. Neuroscience again. Gratitude widens your attention, shifts your brain toward possibility, bathes your nervous system in calm. Daily gratitude is not a nice to have. It is the fuel that keeps your engine clean, your vision clear, your spirit resilient. Write 3 things, whisper them like a prayer, and watch your scarcity stories dissolve. Now open your journal and write your targets for the day and the person you are becoming. Not just tasks, identity. I'm the kind of person who keeps promises to myself. I'm the kind of person who moves my body. I'm the kind of person who makes progress when it's hard. If you don't program your mind for success, life will program it for mediocrity. Picture your future self like a movie. How do they walk? How do they speak? Where do they live? Who do they serve? What kind of problems do they solve? Visualization is not fantasy, it is rehearsal. Athletes rehearse free throws in their minds. Pilots rehearse landings in simulators. You will rehearse excellence in the theater of your imagination until your nervous system recognizes it as familiar. The brain loves what it has seen before. So show it your victory every day. When the day opens its gates and distraction gallops in with banners and brass bands, remember the law of ruthless focus. The world belongs to those who master focus, because focus turns hours into years of progress. Silence the notifications. Put your phone in another room like you're sending temptation on a timeout. Choose the one thing that moves the needle and attack it like a sacred appointment. 1 hour of deep work can do what 5 hours of scattered effort cannot. Think of the great achievers. There were seasons when they disappeared, not to escape, but to concentrate their power. In the quiet, they sculpted ideas into architecture, dreams into deliverables, effort into excellence. You don't need to vanish from the world forever. You need a block of time where the world can't find you. Guard it like a dragon sleeping on treasure, because it is treasure. Your focus is the compound interest of your attention. Listen closely to the next truth, because it will change the way you speak to yourself for the rest of your life. The words you whisper to yourself in silence will either chain you or set you free. Positive self-talk is not cheesy. It is chemistry. Your language shapes your biochemistry, your posture, your decisions. Replace "I'm not good at this" with "I'm getting better at this every day." Replace "I always mess up" with "I learn fast." Replace "I'm behind" with "I'm building." And carve this into stone. I don't need to feel ready to begin. I become ready by beginning. Affirmations are not about pretending. They're about practicing a more accurate story. You have evidence of resilience if you're breathing. You have proof of persistence if you've ever gotten back up. Speak to yourself like someone you're responsible for helping. Speak to yourself like a future legend who is still learning. Speak to yourself with love and with fire, because the world will try to label you. Your own voice will decide which labels stick. Before the day ends, meet yourself on paper. Daily reflection and journaling are how you extract wisdom from experience. A day unreflected is a day half-lived. What worked? What challenged you? What did you learn? Who did you help? Where did you waste time? Where did you show courage? This is not about shame. It is about strategy. High performers don't just repeat days, they iterate them. They open the hood, check the engine, and make small adjustments that prevent big breakdowns. You will be amazed at what you discover when your thoughts stop swirling and start landing in ink. Patterns will reveal themselves. Solutions will announce themselves. Gratitude and goals will braid themselves into a stronger rope. That rope is for climbing. And now the heartbeat of unstoppable action. Not perfect plans, action. Not pristine conditions, action. Not unanimous approval, action. The unstoppable don't wait for motivation. They move, they act, they execute. Momentum is the miracle that most people never taste because they're always bargaining with their fear. Just start. Start ugly, start small, start uncertain. Start when you don't feel like it. Start when your inner critic is loud. Start when nobody believes in you yet, because action quiets doubt. Action teaches faster than thinking. Action builds a body of evidence that says, I am a doer. And here's the code you etch into your bones. Never miss twice. If you miss the gym, you go tomorrow. If you sleep in, you rise the next day. Falling is human. Staying down is a decision. All of this funnels into the final thread that binds every habit together: unshakable discipline and resilience. Discipline is not a prison. Discipline is freedom. Freedom from the mood swings of motivation. Freedom from the weather of other people's opinions. Freedom from the trap of waiting. Resilience is what you call on when discipline meets a wall. It's the voice that says we keep going, even when every fiber of your being screams to stop. It's the runner who finishes the last mile on tired legs. It's the student who studies one more hour after a bad grade. It's the parent who shows up with love when they feel empty. It's you. Choosing the better future in the present moment again and again until that choice is no longer a choice. It's who you are. Let's weave these threads into a single day you can live starting tomorrow, or better yet, tonight. You lay your clothes out so the friction is gone. You set your alarm and place it across the room so you have to stand to silence it. You write 3 things you'll do that matter and 1 sentence that describes who you're becoming. You sleep with intention because sleep is the first habit of discipline that protects all the others. Dawn arrives. You rise. You drink water. You move, you read, you write your gratitude, you visualize, you enter deep work, you speak life to yourself when resistance appears, you act, small, deliberate, relentless. You end the day with reflection and compassion for the parts of you still learning. You repeat, day after day, boredom appears, as it always will, and you smile because boredom is the doorway to mastery. Then one morning, months from now, you catch your reflection and you don't just look different. You are different, not because a miracle happened, because a habit happened. 10 of them braided into something unbreakable. Make no mistake, there will be days when you want to quit, days when the alarm feels like an insult, days when your plan crumbles by 9 a.m., days when your old identity taps you on the shoulder and says, come back to comfortable. On those days, remember this, your feelings are weather, your commitments are climate. You can walk through rain in a good coat. The habits you are building are your coat. The promises you keep are your shelter. The meaning you choose is your heat. And meaning comes from service. So tie your habits to something bigger than your ego. Train your body so you can be strong for the people you love. Sharpen your mind so you can solve problems others fear. Practice gratitude so you can become a lighthouse in someone else's storm. Focus deeply so you can build something that outlives you. Speak life so people around you feel safe to dream again. Reflect daily so you become more useful, more wise, more kind. Act consistently so your community can count on you. And stay disciplined so your purpose doesn't get lost in your moods. I want you to feel the aha that changes everything. Greatness isn't in the grand gesture, it's in the quiet repeat. It's not the TED Talk, it's the Tuesday morning. It's not the standing ovation, it's the standing appointment with yourself. Achievements are loud, habits are silent, but the silence is where your foundation is poured. That is why the most powerful people you know are calm in rooms that make others shake. They have met themselves every morning in a silence that taught them who they are. You can do the same. You will do the same. Let me paint your mornings in high definition. The window is a rectangle of silver dawn. The kettle sings like a friend who knows your name. Your journal opens to a blank page that no one can judge. You write 3 lines: gratitude, goals, identity. You close your eyes and see a future that doesn't scare you anymore because you're already walking there. Shoes on, movement done, sweat drying cool on your skin like a medal that nobody else needs to see. 10 pages read. 1 sentence copied that makes you think. The phone is quiet. Your inner critic is quieter. You sit to work, a single task, the kind that matters, and the clock loses its power because flow has found you. Before noon, you've done more for your future than most people do in a week. Before the world asked anything from you, you gave something to yourself. That's not a routine. That's a revolution. You might ask, but what about failure? Good, because failure is a GPS. It doesn't end the trip. It recalculates the route. When your habit streak breaks, you don't burn the map. You say, thank you for the lesson, and you take the next exit. When you slip into old patterns, don't make it a personality. Make it a moment. Then grow past it. Ask, what system failed? Was the alarm too close? Was the plan too vague? Was my evening sabotaging my morning? Systems beat willpower. Design beats desire. And you are now a designer. You are the architect of your daily cathedral. You are not waiting for motivation, you are crafting momentum. Somewhere along this path, people will notice. They'll say, you're lucky. They won't see the dawns. They won't hear the quiet affirmations. They won't watch you putting your phone in the other room like a child on timeout. They won't feel the ache in your quads after those first weeks of movement. They won't read the notes in the margins or the prayers in the gratitude list. They will only see a result that looks like magic. Smile. You know the truth. Magic is just mastery with great PR. And your habits, they're your publicist and your producer. They take your intention and book it on the stage of reality, night after night, until the crowd starts chanting your name. And eventually, even that won't matter, because you didn't do this for applause. You did it for alignment. You did it to meet the person you were born to become. If you're listening to this and your chest is tight because you've tried and quit before, hear me clearly. There is nothing wrong with you. Your brain is protecting you the only way it knows how, by preferring the familiar. New habits feel unsafe to a nervous system trained by old stories. So we soothe it with small wins. We reduce friction. We celebrate the process. We make the habit so easy you can't say no, then we add weight slowly. Like a coach who knows your potential better than your fears do. You will not bully yourself into greatness. You will build yourself into greatness with patience, with love, with repetition, with fire. Now imagine a life that stitches all of this together. Imagine rising early, moving with power, feeding your mind, living with gratitude, writing your future, locking in your focus, declaring truth over your doubts, reflecting with honesty, acting without excuses, and holding your discipline when the wind howls. That is not just a life, that is legendary. That is the life that calls to you at 2 a.m. when you can't sleep, not because you're anxious, but because you're excited. That is the life that makes your younger self proud and your future self grateful. That is the life you build one sunrise at a time. So here is your invitation, and it is urgent, not aggressive, urgent. You have two choices: continue living on autopilot or become unstoppable. The habits are here, the power is yours, the time is now. Stand up, walk to the sink, drink water, put your shoes by the door, put your phone in another room before bed, set your alarm, write 3 lines, lay out your clothes, choose the first task for tomorrow. This is not symbolic, this is strategic. When we end, you begin, because your next decision is the seed of your next identity, and identity is destiny. If this message lit something inside you, don't let the spark die. Subscribe so we walk this road together. Like this if your heart said yes. Share it with the one friend who needs to remember who they are. And when you're ready for the next step, watch the video waiting for you after this one, the deep dive on building a morning routine that locks in your first 3 wins before 8 a.m. Stay in this momentum. Protect it like it's life support, because for your dream, it is. I'll leave you with the question that will echo in your chest long after this ends. Answer it in the comments so your decision is public and powerful. Which habit do you commit to mastering first? And who will you become when you keep that promise every day, starting now? Good. You answered the question, even if only in your head. That whisper counts. Now let's turn that whisper into a voice, and that voice into a vow. Because a habit isn't born when you decide once. A habit is born when you decide again, and again, and again. Especially on the mornings that feel like a gray wall. Those are the mornings that make champions. I want you to picture something simple and sacred. Your future self walking toward you from the horizon. They look like you, but taller in spirit, calmer in storms, stronger in the eyes. They're holding a small box. Inside the box are 10 objects. A dawn, a pair of running shoes, a book, a pen, a list, a door you can close, a sentence etched in gold, a journal, a key marked action, and a steel thread named discipline. Every day, your future self hands you the box again. Some days you accept it, some days you ignore it, but the box is always offered. Today, you take it with both hands. Let me show you how ordinary life becomes extraordinary, not in theory, but in Tuesday. Maya is a single mother who used to wake up in a hurricane of late alarms, misplaced keys, and breakfast made out of guilt. One night she decided she would not build her child's future on her old chaos. She didn't buy a new planner. She didn't post a speech. She did one thing. She put her phone to sleep in another room and set her coffee mug beside her journal. The next morning, she woke up when the world still belonged to the birds. 10 minutes of silence, 10 squats beside the bed, 3 lines of gratitude. 1 sentence declaring who she is becoming. By 7 a.m., the house was a different planet, not because the world changed, because she did. 1 month later, she laughed when someone called her lucky. Luck? No, layout. She laid out her future the night before and met it at dawn. You will do this too. You'll learn to stack your habits, so one decision becomes the doorway to the next. Shoes beside the bed become movement. Movement becomes alertness. Alertness becomes reading. Reading becomes a fresh idea for deep work. Deep work becomes evidence. Evidence becomes identity. Identity becomes destiny. And on days when the chain feels heavy, you will rely on the rule that saves futures. Never miss twice. Miss a morning, tonight is redemption. Skip the workout, choose a brisk walk after dinner. Lose focus for an hour, reboot with 5 minutes of breath and one line in the journal, I begin again. The great ones aren't the ones who never fall. They're the ones who trip forward. Your brain will ask for easy dopamine because it is efficient at keeping you safe, not excellent at making you great. Scrolling is candy for the mind. Creation is nourishment for the soul. I'm not asking you to become a monk. I'm asking you to choose your dopamine with intention. Earn it with movement. Earn it with progress. Earn it with service. Feel the difference between the buzz that leaves you hollow and the glow that leaves you proud. When you finish the one task that mattered, the satisfaction isn't noisy. It's a low, steady fire. That fire is called alignment. Focus will require more than silence. It will require boundaries. You will learn to close doors, to decline quick calls, to put do not disturb as a guardian on your phone. People who love you will understand. People who benefit from your scattered attention will protest. Let them. Your power does not grow in rooms where your attention is rented by every beep and banner. Your power grows in the rooms you design. Rooms where a single sentence can stretch its legs and become a paragraph, where an idea can breathe long enough to turn into a plan. You deserve those rooms. Build them. And while you're building, listen to the soundtrack of your own voice. It will try old scripts. Who do you think you are? It's too late. You always quit. These lines are not prophecy. They're habit. Trade them for truth. I am learning fast. I never leave myself without a plan. I am a person who keeps promises to myself. Speak it when you tie your shoes. Speak it when you open the book. Speak it when you want to check out halfway through deep work. Words are weights. Lift them often and your identity will get stronger. Oh, there will be plateaus. They're not deserts, they're laboratories. The scale will freeze, the follower count will snooze, the business graph will yawn. This is the valley of boring where amateurs die and masters are born. In that valley, your job is not to be entertained. Your job is to be engraved. You turn repetition into refinement. You notice small edges, a better warm-up, a sharper question for your client, an extra minute of stillness before you write. Most people abandon the valley because it doesn't clap. You will bless the valley because it makes you dangerous in rooms that applaud for the wrong reasons. Let me give you an evening that protects your morning. Tonight, you land the plane 30 minutes before bed. Screens off, a lamp that forgives. You ask, what did I learn? What will I carry forward? You pick tomorrow's one sacred task and write it where you will see it at dawn. You lay out your clothes like a breadcrumb trail leading to a stronger self. You put your phone to sleep in exile. You breathe. Gratitude becomes a soft blanket over your nervous system. Sleep is not an interruption to success. Sleep is the furnace where growth hormones repair your future. You don't crash. You arrive at rest like someone who respects the machine they drive. Service will keep you sane. Nothing quiets the drama of the ego like helping someone else carry their day. Send a voice note that says, I see you. Share a lesson you just learned the hard way. Tip your barista like you remember what a miracle a good morning is. Success without service is a loud emptiness, but success braided with service, that's legacy. Tie your habits to people you love and strangers you may never meet. And discipline stops feeling like a cage. It becomes devotion. Identity will become your anchor. Stop asking, can I keep this up? And start declaring, this is who I am. Not I run marathons, but I am a runner. Not I sometimes write, but I am a writer. Not I try to be focused, but I am the kind of person who protects my attention like oxygen. When identity leads, behavior follows. And when behavior drifts, as it will, you won't spiral into shame. You'll correct course like a pilot who expects turbulence and stays married to the destination. I know you wonder, what about fear? Keep it. Fear is not an enemy, it's a compass. If a dream does not scare you, it cannot stretch you. The goal is not to delete fear. The goal is to walk with it, one hand holding discipline, the other holding courage. Courage does not erase trembling. Courage moves while trembling. You will speak when your voice shakes. You will press publish when your finger hovers. You will step into rooms where you feel underqualified and let your preparation speak louder than your insecurity. And you will leave those rooms with new evidence that your fear was telling an old story about a newer you. Your journal will become a mirror, a mentor, and a map. Some evenings it will be one line. Today I kept my promise. Some mornings it will be a storm you empty onto paper so your mind can be clear for the climb. You will begin to see patterns. You do better when you eat earlier. You crash when you hang out with certain people. You fly when you begin with gratitude. You focus longer when you breathe for 60 seconds before the deep work block. Your best ideas arrive when you walk without your phone. Journaling turns, I don't know why, into now I understand. Understanding turns into leverage. Leverage turns into liberation. Let's talk about environment, because you are heroic, but you are not a robot. We become what we repeat, and we repeat what is easy to reach. Put fruit at eye level and chips on a high shelf. Put your book on your pillow, so you must touch learning before sleep. Place a note card on your desk that says, what would my future self thank me for in the next 60 minutes? Remove 1 tap between you and excellence. Add 3 taps between you and distraction. You're not weak, your friction is just misallocated. Reallocate it. Design a life where the right thing is the default, and watch your willpower multiply. Some days you'll be sick, traveling, heartbroken, human. Your habits have micro versions for that. 2 minutes of movement. 5 pages of reading becomes 1 page of underlining. Gratitude shrinks from 3 lines to whispering thank you once with your hand on your chest. Deep work becomes a 15-minute sprint. Reflection becomes a single sentence. I showed up at my lowest. These small versions are not cop-outs. They are continuity. Continuity is what keeps the lights on in your identity when the neighborhood goes dark. Comparison will try to steal your joy. It will show you highlight reels edited by algorithms designed to keep you scrolling and doubting. Remember, you're not racing against their timeline. You're building yours. Every time envy rises, convert it into data. Ask, what can I admire, adopt, and adapt? Feel the sting, then turn it into strategy. The moment you turn jealousy into fuel, you become unstealable. Now imagine day 30. Your alarm rings and you don't argue with it. You greet it like a friend who kept a promise. Your body warms faster. Your mind opens sooner. Your focus sits down before you do. People begin to ask what changed, and you'll want to say everything. But the truer answer is the small things, consistently. Day 60, your circle shifts. You're less available to drama. You have less appetite for gossip because creation tastes better. Day 90, something that used to terrify you feels like Tuesday. Day 180, you realize you're no longer trying to be the person you wanted to be. You are living as them. Let me teach you a conversation that will save you. The 2 chairs. Chair 1 is today me. Chair 2 is future me. Sit in silence for 60 seconds and ask the future you, what should I do next? They don't speak in paragraphs. They give you a sentence. Send the email. Go for the run. Read the chapter. Apologize. Say no. Begin. That one instruction, obeyed immediately, builds trust between the version of you that dreams and the version of you that decides. When those 2 versions trust each other, you become unstoppable because your inner committee votes unanimously. You will still face days when your past knocks wearing the cologne of old comfort. The couch will remember your shape. The app will remember your thumb. The group chat will remember your willingness to trade hours for nothing. Smile. You are polite but firm. I don't live there anymore. Not because you hate your past self, but because you love your future one. You're not running from a monster, you're running toward a miracle. I want you to experience the sacred boredom of mastery, the meditative repetition of breath in cold morning air, the rhythm of weights meeting gravity and returning to you stronger, the soft percussion of your pen across paper while the city yawns itself awake. The page will not applaud, the kettlebell will not cheer, the sunrise will not post your progress, but the quiet will witness you, and the quiet is where kings and queens are crowned. This is the season to become allergic to excuses. I don't have time becomes I haven't made it yet. I'm not motivated becomes I haven't started moving. I don't know how becomes I'm going to learn. Replace complaint with curiosity. Replace delay with a decision so small it's almost silly. Walk for 5 minutes. Write for 5 sentences. Read for 5 pages. 5 becomes 15. 15 becomes a tide. The tide lifts the harbor of your life. And when the world tests you, and it will, you will remember your climate. Your climate is commitment. When a loved one needs you, your habits serve them. You are strong enough to carry boxes and emotions, focused enough to solve problems, rested enough to show up fully. When the economy shivers, your deep work has made you valuable. When plans shatter, your gratitude keeps your spirit from scattering. When you are celebrated, your reflection keeps you humble. When you are criticized, your identity keeps you unshaken. This is not just self-help, this is self-leadership. If you've come this far with me, you are not seeking motivation anymore. You are claiming operation, a way to operate in the world that makes excellence normal. You wake early not to be impressive, but to be intentional. You move not for a body image, but for a life image. You read not to hoard quotes, but to sharpen your mind for real problems. You give thanks not to be polite, but to be powerful. You write goals and visualize not to manifest magic, but to program your brain to notice opportunities. You focus not to brag about deep work, but to build deep roots. You speak life because you understand that your mouth can be a weapon or a wand. You reflect because wisdom accrues interest. You act because action is the bridge. And you discipline yourself because freedom is on the other side of I don't feel like it. So here's what we'll do next. Right now, not tomorrow. You will stand up and drink water because clarity begins with care. You will put your phone in another room for the next block of time because attention is your currency, and you're done tipping every stranger in your feed. You will write one sentence in a place you can't avoid. I am the kind of person who keeps promises to myself. Then you will keep a small promise within the next 5 minutes. One push-up, one paragraph, one page, one outreach. The size doesn't matter, the signal does. You're sending a broadcast to your brain. We do what we say here. And when this video ends, I don't want the music to fade. I want it to change keys inside you. I want you to feel a click, the sound of a door locking behind your old self, not because you hate them, but because you have outgrown the room. I want you to feel the thrill of beginning again without the shame of beginning small. I want you to feel the smile of your future self, the one carrying the box with the dawn and the shoes and the book and the pen and the list and the door and the golden sentence and the journal and the action key and the steel thread named discipline, as they hand it to you once more and say, I trust you. Subscribe because this path is easier when we walk it together. Like because your tiny action reinforces what you just decided. Share because someone you love is one decision away from remembering who they are. And then, before you disappear into the next thing, seal it publicly so your identity hears you. Drop a comment with 3 lines, your morning time, your one sacred task for tomorrow, and the identity you are practicing. Example, 5:30 a.m., write one page, I am a finisher. Make it your own. Make it honest. Make it loud. Before I let you go, build one last truth, and it's the kind that echoes. In 10 years, your name will stand for something. People will speak it and feel a feeling. What feeling will that be? Will your name mean unreliable or unbreakable? Will it mean distractions or discipline? Will it mean excuses or execution? You are writing that meaning today in small print with a pen called habit. Write well. Write bravely. Write daily. Now, breathe. Place your hand on your heart and feel that drum again. That is your countdown and your promise. The world doesn't need a perfect you. The world needs a practicing you. So practice. Rise early. Move. Learn. Give thanks. See your future. Protect your focus. Speak life. Reflect. Act. And when it's hardest, hold the line with discipline. Because that is the moment, right there, when everything in you wants to stop, that you become unstoppable. I'll see you at dawn. And when the sun asks who you are, answer without apology. I am the person who keeps promises to myself, and I'm just getting started. And when dawn comes, you won't be surprised by it anymore. You'll be waiting. You'll feel the soft hush before the light, that sacred pause when the world is holding its breath, and you'll whisper to yourself, show up. The kettle will hum. The page will open. Your shoes will know the way. It won't feel dramatic. It will feel inevitable. That's what habits do. They remove the debate. And when there is no debate, there is no delay. You simply begin. I want you to taste what inevitable feels like in the middle of a messy life. Picture the week where everything goes wrong. The project gets pushed back. The kid gets sick. Your car argues with the engine light. The sink decides to become a small waterfall at 11:47 p.m. Old you would throw the whole week away like a ruined page. New you turns the page and keeps writing. You choose the 2-minute version. You move your body even if all you can do is stretch on the floor beside the laundry. You read a single page and underline one sentence that makes you braver. You write 3 grateful truths when your eyes sting. You set one sacred task and protect it like a candle in wind. You end the night with a line in ink. I kept my promise at my lowest. That sentence is not small. That sentence is a ceremony where you crown yourself with continuity. That's how you become someone who cannot be stopped, because even chaos cannot separate you from your rituals. You will discover that success is less like a ladder and more like a spiral. You revisit the same challenges from a higher angle. The alarm that once felt like an enemy becomes a doorbell for your destiny. The workout that once felt like punishment becomes a gift to your future grandchildren. The book that once felt too dense becomes a treasure chest you're finally strong enough to carry. Spiral upward. Each loop is proof that you are rising, even when the scenery looks familiar. Your self-talk will evolve into a language of leadership. You'll stop negotiating with your lesser self and start mentoring it. When resistance whispers, skip today, you'll answer, we don't skip identity. When fear hisses, you're behind, you'll answer, I'm building for 10 years. When perfection tries to suffocate action, you'll answer, finished beats flawless. These aren't slogans, They're switches in the mind. Flip enough of them, and the room lights up. You will see the path clearly, not because the path changed, but because your eyes did. It's time to speak about the invisible audience in your life, the one person you always influence, whether you want to or not. A younger version of you is still watching. They sit on the staircase of your memory, chin on knees, hoping you'll become someone they can believe in. Every habit is a message to them. When you rise early, they learn hope. When you move, they learn agency. When you read, they learn curiosity. When you give thanks, they learn abundance. When you focus, they learn power. When you speak life, they learn dignity. When you reflect, they learn wisdom. When you act, they learn courage. When you discipline yourself, they learn freedom. This is bigger than productivity. This is parenting your past and adopting your future at the same time. There will be seasons of speed and seasons of depth. In speed seasons, you stack wins quickly. Short sprints of deep work, visible progress, visible momentum. In depth seasons, you build roots. Quiet study, internal rewiring, patient craft. Do not mistake depth for delay. The oak becomes a giant because it spends years negotiating with the soil. You do the same with your mind. You negotiate with your nervous system, your attention, your beliefs, until your inner world can hold the weight of the outer one you're building. When the spotlight finally swings your way, you won't flinch. You'll simply step into it because you trained in the dark. Let me place you in a room where legends are made. The door is closed. The phone is gone. A timer is set for 90 minutes. On the desk, water, a notebook, a single clear objective. You breathe in for 4 counts, hold for 4, out for 6. Your shoulders drop, your jaw loosens. You write one sentence. This block will move my life forward. Then you begin. The first 5 minutes are clumsy. The next 10 minutes feel like the mind is pushing a heavy door. Minute 30 arrives and sound thins. Time starts to soften around the edges. By minute 60, the work is working on you. You are slower, steadier, stronger. You end at 90, even if you want to keep going because you are training longevity, not addiction. You stand up with evidence, the kind nobody can take from you. Focus is a forge. Stay there long enough and steel appears where doubt used to be. On the topic of doubt, let me tell you how it loses its teeth. Doubt remains powerful when it is vague. It dissolves when it is measured. You will measure what matters, not to punish yourself, but to sharpen your perception. Hours slept, pages read, work blocks completed, steps moved, gratitudes written, actions executed. Not 1,000 metrics, just a few that honor your becoming. You'll glance at the numbers and see stories. You'll see how a better night makes a better morning. You'll see how a better morning wins the afternoon. You'll see how 3 focus blocks a day compound into weeks that feel like a life upgrade. And when a week dips, you won't panic. You'll adjust. Because systems thinkers don't spiral, they iterate. You will also renegotiate your relationship with failure. Failure won't be a verdict. It will be a vitamin. A hard swallow that feeds the future you're building. The email that goes unanswered teaches your copy. The pitch that flops teaches your positioning. The run you cut short teaches your pacing. The relapse into distraction teaches your triggers. Take the vitamin, drink water, try again. The only failure that rots is the one you hide from the light. Bring it to your journal. Bring it to a mentor. Bring it to the mirror with compassion. Say, I see where it hurt. I see where I hid. I see where I hurried. Then ask, what will I practice next time? That question turns cemeteries into laboratories. In this next chapter, your circle will change without bitterness. You will stop auditioning for rooms that don't value your vision. You will bless people you outgrow without needing them to shrink to make you comfortable. You will look for allies who are building, not just broadcasting. You will become allergic to conversations that only move mouths and not lives. You won't make a speech about it, you'll make progress. Progress is the announcement. And because your spirit will be anchored in service, you won't become hard. You'll become helpful. You'll look for ways to lift while you climb. Mentors lifted you with sentences you still carry. You'll write sentences into other souls, and some of them will change cities you'll never visit. That's legacy without ego. There's a silence that comes after you keep a promise to yourself for so many days that even your inner critic gives up trying to interrupt. It's a holy quiet. In that quiet, new instructions appear. You'll notice the next habit your future is asking for. Perhaps it's nutrition. Perhaps it's a financial ritual. Perhaps it's 10 minutes of daily outreach to build relationships and reputations that open doors while you sleep. Maybe it's art. Yes, art, because creativity is not a hobby. It's a pressure valve for the soul. You are not a machine, you are a maker. Makers need space to play. Play oxygenates purpose. Don't forget to breathe. As your capacity grows, pressure will find you, and you will learn to transmute it. Pressure can crush or crystallize. Diamonds are just carbon that trained under intensity. You will train too. You'll remember to zoom out when the walls feel close. Ask, will this matter in 5 years? Often the answer gifts you calm. If the answer is yes, you'll get even calmer because you know exactly what to do. Keep showing up and ask better questions. What skill am I building through this pressure? What value can I create that outlasts this spike? What version of me is this trying to birth? Pressure becomes pedagogy when you stop calling it punishment. Your mornings will not be the only sacred ground. Commutes become classrooms. Walks become workshops. Showers become studios where ideas knock on tile and ask to be born. You'll carry index cards or a tiny note app because genius hates a vacuum and loves a net. Catch your ideas, treat them like guests. Some visits will change your house. You will also befriend boredom. Boredom is not a problem, it's a portal. When you refuse to medicate it with a screen, boredom opens into curiosity, and curiosity opens into creativity. That's when you'll invent a solution at work nobody asked for but everybody needed. That's when a better way to teach your child math will light up and learning will stop being war. That's when you'll write a paragraph with such clean honesty that your future self will cry when they read it 5 years from now. Keep your hands still long enough for the door to appear. I want to hand you a picture of resilience, so human, it might feel like memory. A runner on mile 19, rain stitching their face. A parent on hour 3 of soothing a newborn while emails multiply like storms. A student at a cracked wooden desk, phone face down, hunger like a furnace, reading paragraphs that will move a family tree. None of them look heroic from the outside. All of them are heroes, not because of one epic act, but because of 10,000 small ones. That's you. You are the runner, the parent, the student, the artist, the builder, the quiet force. And when your knees shake, you will remember the promise you made. Never miss twice. You will get up tomorrow and the world will feel it. Maybe it won't clap, but it will feel it because the world is changed by people who keep promises in rooms with no applause. On the days when grief visits, and it will because to live is to lose, you won't throw your habits away like they are luxuries. You will hold them closer as lifelines. Movement will wring the ache from your muscles. Gratitude will not deny your pain, it will stop you from drowning in it. Reading will borrow a wiser mind when yours is tired. Focus will give your hands something kind to do. Journaling will make space for tears that words can't carry yet. Action will keep you from becoming a statue in your own life. Discipline will whisper, one more hour, one more step. And somewhere in that slow, stubborn faithfulness, a dawn you didn't think would come will arrive. You will not be the same, you will be deeper. And deeper people carry more light. You will start to feel a quiet responsibility to your gift. Not pressure to be perfect, responsibility to be present, to show up where your talent intersects with the world's need. You'll stop hoarding your progress like a secret and start sharing it like a scaffold. Your words, your code, your songs, your spreadsheets, your designs, your dinners, your jokes, whatever you make will become bridges other people walk across to meet their better selves. That's what unstoppable really means. Not that nothing ever hits you, but that nothing can keep you from giving. And now, as we near this chapter's close, hear the cadence of your new normal. The alarm rings, feet find the floor, breath finds the body finds the movement, eyes find the page, mind finds the line finds the vision finds the work finds the world finds the blessing returns to you multiplied. You sleep with a smile that doesn't need witnesses because it is anchored to integrity. You wake and do it again. It looks simple from the outside. It feels sacred from the inside. That's because it is. If this has stirred you, let it steer you. Don't only nod, act. Before this ends, pick one micro commitment and do it now. Fill a glass, pack a gym bag, place a book on your pillow, put your phone in another room, write a single line in your journal. I am becoming who I promised. Press play on the next video in this series. We'll architect your first 90 days in detail so momentum becomes muscle memory. Subscribe so the system keeps meeting you at dawn. Like this, if your chest felt that click. Share it with the one person whose comeback is overdue. Seal it in the comments with a declaration that binds today to tomorrow. And then, one last spark to carry with you into the quiet. 10 years from now, someone you love will stand in a doorway and watch you do something ordinary. Pour coffee, tie shoes, open a laptop, and feel extraordinary gratitude without knowing why. It will be because of mornings like this, promises like these, and 1,000 invisible victories stacked into a life that hums with purpose. That's the future you're building. That's the legacy you're living. That's what it means to be unstoppable. So answer me and answer yourself right here where it counts. Which tiny promise will you keep before your head hits the pillow tonight? And how will that one promise ripple through the rest of your life starting now?